It is so great seeing my next guest back in action. He's going to be taking on Said Nurmagomedov at UFC 270. It is Cody Stamann back here on the program. Cody, how's it going?
Really good. We were just talking off air. This is the 15th interview we've done together.
Something like that. Yeah, it's been a lot. Yeah. It's been crazy how time's been flying. And again, good seeing you back in action. I kind of wanted to start there first. We haven't seen you fight, I think, since May of last year. I know there were some fight cancellations and some other stuff that happened. But from your vantage point, what happened? Why haven't we seen you for so long?
Fight cancellations. And then, I assumed I would fight before the end of last year. And I was offered Said, I think it was in October. And I immediately said yes. And I assumed it was probably December. I was like, this is kind of exactly what I was thinking would happen. And they're like, January. And I'm like, what? So, I've known I was fighting for a really long time, but I don't know. I just think there's just so many guys in the UFC. And I think, it's kind of the only matchup that really made sense for me at this point. So, yeah, I can't get into exactly why it's been so long. I've been healthy. I've been training. I've been willing. It just hasn't happened. So I'm just grateful that I'm finally going to get back in there and do my thing.
Yeah, and how frustrating is it, especially the fact you're in Vegas? Like, they're doing cards there all the time. I figured you'd be one of their go-to guys, and here you are on the sidelines. I know not by choice because you weren't injured.
Yeah. I really thought something would pop up, and I let Jason House know. I was like, hey, listen, something pops up at 45. I'm in good shape. I can fight. And then nothing did, and it always does. You know what I mean? Like, whenever I say that, I feel like whenever I say that, I get a call almost. It's like a week. You know what I mean? Like, I said that thinking that, I'm actually going to fight here probably within the month. And then another month went by, and I'm like, hey, I'm still here. And it just didn't happen. So, I guess it's a good thing because that means people aren't getting hurt, fights aren't falling apart like they were during COVID. But, a little time away from the sport doesn't hurt anybody. I'm telling you. Like, you need time to regroup and kind of, figure out what you want, reset your goals. There's a lot of things that can happen, if you're willing to put in the work, if you have a little time outside the cage.
Very well said. Obviously, hot prospect you're fighting here, 14-2 record. What do you know about him? How do you feel like you match up against him here?
I don't know much about him. I know he's got a pretty famous last name. He doesn't seem to be like a lot of the other Dagestani guys. I think he's more of a kickboxer, which is pretty surprising, coming from where he's from. You figure all those guys are absolute stud wrestlers. Just to be the second guy from Dagestan I fought. I know that he's going to be tough. I fought Farkad Sharipov. He was another Dagestani. He came from the same area. And, like, those guys are just stoic and tough. Like, it doesn't matter what you hit him with. It doesn't really seem to affect him the way you'd like it to. I know he's got some really, really cool, flashy kicks. But, that's something that I've been seeing, my entire career training with Darren. So, yeah, I feel like this is a great matchup. Like I said, I'm just thankful, happy to get back in there and to do something. Last year was tough. Last year was a tough year professionally. It was a great year for me, but professionally, it didn't look good on paper. So I want to get that monkey off my back, and come back strong this year and climb back to the top where I think I belong.
Had you ever seen him before in Vegas? I don't know if he ever came to train there. I know some of the Dagestani fighters do sort of pass through. Had you ever seen him in the past, or ever? I'm assuming you never trained with him either.
No, I've never trained with him. I've never seen him. I don't have I got a pretty good idea what he looks like. Maybe I did see him. I don't know, but he didn't stick out in my mind. I know a lot of the guys I've trained with him. Said he's tough, he's good. But they wouldn't even matter, because look, Marab and I were training in the same gym. Like, we were sparring like side by side, before we fought, and I was sparring Aljo, getting ready for Peter Yan. So, like, Vegas is a weird place like that. Like, your opponent might be in the gym 2 days before you sign a fight against him, and then he might still try to come like after you guys are already fighting, and it's just weird. It's like the Shin Couture is kind of like a hub where everybody ends up, and then the PI too. You might walk past your opponent 45 times in a day, so it's not as big a deal as what people think it is. You know what I mean? To like see your opponent, be around them. There's a few guys that really should never ever be in the same room together, but for the most part, everybody's pretty cool. Like, the PI's like the Artemis Hotel. Like, you just look the other way, you don't say shit, you don't do anything, because they're pretty strict.
Yeah, it's business. It's business for sure. Who you mainly getting to work with this camp as far as bodies in the gym?
Yeah, I've been leaning on my Hawaiian brothers. There's a couple young Hawaiian kids that are like really good kickboxers. Kind of have that different style. You know, good at spinning, good at throwing stuff from different angles. So those guys have been my main training partners as far as sparring. Then all the same guys, for all the grappling and everything else. But I mean, there's just so many good guys in Vegas right now. It's
Mhm.
insane. There's not like a light round. You don't get rounds off. You don't get easy rounds. In Michigan, it was like there was like one or two good guys for me to train with, and here, it's like take your pick. There's 10 guys in the UFC in a practice. There's, you know what I mean. There's world champions in practices. There's the best kickboxers in the world. This is insane. It's insane, and like I haven't really. It's hard to like say that you've leveled up. You know what I mean? Everybody says that like, oh, I'm 3 times as good as I was last time. I'm like that's the truth. But it's like when you're going against guys that are established in the sport every day, I mean, you don't have a choice but to level up, or you just get your ass whooped every day, and then
Yeah.
this whole thing becomes a drag. It's like, why am I even here? Why am I doing this? So I feel like the level of competition I've been facing, like in the gym every day, is definitely gonna, propel me hopefully to what I think I'm capable of doing in the cage.
I know you also spent some time with the Laramie brothers. Tony getting to fight recently in LFA, who had a great win and I think he had an injury going in too, and he still won the fight.
Yeah. I think he broke his foot. We never went and got it checked out, but yeah, Tony's a killer, man. He's a great kid to have around. He stayed with me for 3 months. He's like a little brother. Yeah, I love Tony. He's a tough kid, man. I know he was fighting. He was fighting one of House's guys, and House was like, this is going to be a great fight. I was like, yeah, for Tony. Like, Tony's good. Tony's good. Like and the thing about Tony is like he really looks for the absolute best guys to spar with. Like he was sparring Manuel Cape, almost every day before Manuel was fighting because he was like, this is the only guy in the gym right now. I feel like that can beat me. He's like, he's the only guy I want to go with. So he's a stud, and he's just like completely fearless. You know what I mean? He wants to go with the absolute best guy every round, and I think that's what's going to propel that kid to the top because I don't see a lot of guys at 25 right now that can beat him. And you give him a few years, it's going to be hard for anybody to beat him.
Yeah, I couldn't believe the UFC didn't want him on Contender Series last year. He was telling me that, but I think with LFA, he's in a good spot regardless. You keep winning fights there, he'll eventually get signed. Speaking of teammates, who's going to be in your corner for this fight?
So Benavidez, Eddie Baracco, and Lee Kova. Lee is a guy that we started working together. I guess probably like 8 months ago. He's a Dutch kickboxer. He's one of Ramon Decker's pupils. Like absolute stud stand-up guy. I feel like he's changed a lot. Like just his style. Fighting the way he fights. Like those guys are mean, man. They come forward, they throw hard shots, and that's kind of exactly what I feel like I need personally. I'm doing a little bit too much pitter patter, like in and out stuff. Like these guys are like hard nosed, like I'm coming down your throat, like you can hit me, I don't care. Like they're nuts. I mean, if you watched the Dutch guys kickbox, like they're really scary, and Lee's a super scary dude. So he's someone that I brought in, and I feel like he's a huge asset. And a lot of people don't know he's out here and don't know like the accolades that he has as a kickboxer. He's a stud.
How do you see this fight playing out on January 22nd?
I think Saeed's going to do his best to keep me away from him, but uh, I just don't really see how that's possible. You know what I mean? Like eventually, him and I are going to get in a scramble, and I know that on the inside that I'm going to be able to actually tear him up. Definitely going to be a challenge. You know what I mean? Just because of the way he fights. He's slick, but I'll get inside, and I'm either gonna just crush him with hard shots, or one of them's gonna land. I'm gonna put him out. If I have to, I'll take him down. I'll go straight Dagestani on, and I'll go beat him if I have to. But one way or another, I gotta figure out a way to win. That's what I do, and no matter what, I'm just gonna get my hand raised.
How many more fights do you have left on your contract? Do you know?
I think, two more. This one and one more.
Okay, so kind of a big fight because obviously if you win this, you get a lot of leverage going into that last fight, and if you lose, obviously it's tougher, right? So does that add a little bit more? Or are you just not even worrying about that? You just want to fight?
Oh, of course, it always adds more, but it's like every single fight is the biggest fight of your life. It doesn't matter, what the circumstances are. Obviously, losing your prior fight, it definitely adds a little bit of like nerves, and there's more that goes into it. You know what I mean? But also, you know, like I know I'm one of the best in the world. Like I don't question that. That's one thing I don't question. I know that I have the capability to beat anybody. You know what I mean? It's just about me showing up on fight night. So I'm nervous. I'm terrified. I am every single time. I don't want to sugarcoat it. Like every single time, I'm always confident that I can get it done. But it's also terrifying. The sport is absolutely terrifying. But that's what makes it so appealing to cases like me. You know, it's the fact that you know, you really have to figure out who you are when you get in there. Combination of months and months of hard work are coming down into 15 minutes, and you got to make it happen. So I like myself in this position. You know what I mean? Normally, when the chips are down, I'm not supposed to win. I figure it out. So I feel like this time would be no different.
Before we go, something I know we've talked about in past interviews is, you know, being from Michigan, right? Like there's not a ton of you guys in the UFC, but there's you guys, I mean, saying that there's been a lot of success lately, you know, Chaos Williams, Jamal Hill, even guys like on the regional scene, like Brett Martin. Like, have you been kind of keeping tabs on that? And what does it mean to be a part of that? Cause you were one of the, I mean, Darren and then Kevin Lee and now you, and, you know, there's been other guys on the come up. How's that been for you just seeing the success that Michigan's had on the MMA scene?
Yeah, it's like once one person does it, you know what I mean? Everybody starts to realize that it's possible. You know, I definitely think that, you know, Darren and Kevin, you know, kind of opened the doors and made it known to me that I could do it being from Michigan. And that kind of opened the doors for other guys. And there's a lot of really, really talented athletes in Michigan, good wrestlers, good boxers, you know, and Chaos Williams is just an absolute stud athlete. Jamal Hill, stud athlete. Like those guys are stud athletes. And I think, you know, when the technique and everything catches up with those guys, they're going to be super dangerous dudes in the division. And yeah, I'm happy to be a part of it. You know, I think we all kind of stick together and secretly root for each other, whether we're training together or not. When I see those guys at the PI, I'm always happy to see them. You know, it's cool. It's cool to see it because listen, Michigan guys aren't supposed to make it in this sport because there's no mega gyms, there's nothing, you know what I mean? And yeah, the floodgates are wide open. I think we'll see a lot more guys from Michigan making it to the show soon.
Cody, always appreciate the time, man. Looking forward to seeing you get back in there. UFC 270. Anyone you want to thank? Any sponsors? Any social media? I'll give you the last word.
Shit, I'll thank everybody. Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of people that have, you know, stuck by me, you know, through the best, the worst, and I'm super thankful for all those people. And you know, I've done everything I possibly can to make sure that I'm successful this time. So I look forward to just getting this shit done and going on vacation because it's been a long time coming.
There you go. You got a vacation spot picked out after this?
I don't know, man. I'm gonna go somewhere nice, somewhere tropical. Maybe Mexico. I have like a staycation in like in Vegas here, but that's about it.
Yeah, you don't get the water though, right? That you'd get elsewhere if you went. So you need a nice beach too, right?
Yeah, I need a beach.
I'm the same way.
I can get drunk by the beach.
Make sure to subscribe to the Low Kick MMA YouTube channel for all the latest news, event previews, and interviews with some of the biggest stars in MMA.